Hello, and welcome to the Block Explorer. I'm Colin Brightfield.
Hey folks, I'm Cash Upton.
The Block Explorer is here to educate and inspire you about the world of crypto and NFTs.
We'll do deep dives into critical concepts for understanding what's happening and discuss the current events shaping the space.
We're making this podcast for the curious, the free thinkers, and the change makers that propel us forward.
As we embark on our adventures, remember that none of this is financial advice and crypto can be risky.
In this episode, we're going to give you a refresh on what exactly NFTs are, non-fungible tokens. We'll talk about why they're important, and then we'll share some updates as NFTs start to ramp up into the mainstream space and integrate with more legacy institutions and media companies.
Let's get nifty.
Let's get nifty, Cash. So how are you doing, Cash? What's going on in the NFT world with you? What's an NFT in your mind?
Yeah, well, I'm really excited that we're having this conversation today because what I'm most excited about is the Reliquaries in Real Life NFT event happening at Soho on December 4th. And we wanted to have a conversation to help people understand, why do they even care about NFTs? What are they? Why do they have value to society? And, get people ready to, kind of start thinking about them in a little bit more critical way.
Yeah, I think it's a great discussion to have because I know a lot of my friends that I talk to, they know about NFTs, they've heard of them. But if you ask them to define what an NFT is, they could maybe give you some thoughts, but they might not be able to really just nail it down and say exactly what makes an NFT unique, why it's significant, and how they're going to change the world. So I think this is a really important apropos topic to have because there really are kind of moving into a new realm now with NFTs. I was just watching the World Series last week, and Joe Buck came on and was advertising how they were having some World Series NFTs and you could get them online. And I was like, wow, okay, we've really hit a new corner because now we have the umpires, they're wearing FTX logos, which is the crypto exchange. And then they have crypto commercials with FTX with Tom Brady in them and Steph Curry and David Ortiz from the Boston Red Sox talking about crypto. And then you have NFTs being advertised. I was like, wow, okay, really things have just hit another level with NFTs. It's amazing.
Yeah, hearing about them being at the World Series kind of makes a tipping point argument, if you ask me. But yeah, so let's go back to the beginning. You have a NFT, which stands for non-fungible token, not to be confused with the counterpart, a fungible token. So to kind of get gritty on the tech side of it, fungible token on the Ethereum network is a NRC 20 token, and a non-fungible token is an NRC 721 token.
ERC.
Oh, sorry. ERC. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, for instance, one Ethereum can be interswapped 1,000 times, and you still have one ETH. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just like if I
token.
Cash. It's like if I gave you $10 bill and then you gave me a different $10 bill, like I would be fine with that.
They're
right?
fungible.
They're interchangeable. Exactly. So most of the tokens on Ethereum prior to this big NFT moment that we've been having this year were ERC 20 tokens, which resemble money, right? They're tokens that are interchangeable. So if you have, Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever, you can trade them around just like money, and you don't really need to have the exact one of one. Non-fungible tokens are one of one. They're unique. They're indivisible. It's not possible to like break them up into unique pieces, right? You can get, one Satoshi of a Bitcoin, which is a tiny fraction of a Bitcoin, but you can't just right now, the idea of an NFT, it's like a whole piece. And they introduce digital property rights. They introduce scarcity into the world of digital abundance, right? We've kind of, the first internet was there was just an overwhelming of abundance because you just copy paste everything. There was no digital property rights, and NFTs create digital property rights. Now you can own something in the internet world and prove it with the blockchain technology that's embedded in an NFT. So let's talk more about that. What makes it, what properties does an NFT have that is unique that makes it this way?
Right. So they can't be divided, right? It's one of one. There's a limited supply of it. And then, like you said, it's verifiably existing on the blockchain. So there's ownership and provenance that you just can't be, taken away by a centralized entity.
Yeah. So an NFT can be kind of any file, any media file, anything. And a lot of times right now you're seeing images as the file that's being used, but it gives it a unique cryptographic fingerprint called a hash. And so that if you change even one pixel of the image, it would have a different hash. And so it's impossible to create another file that had that same hash as the first one. So there's a timestamp essentially that's created with the hash about what the piece or media file is comprised of, and also when it was created, and also like what wallet address created it. And then it's permanently linked to the file that it represents. So each NFT, it's a token that references the file and says this person owns it. Just like you could get like a title for your land or for your car, an NFT is almost like a certificate of authenticity for any digital asset that's been uploaded into the blockchain.
Right. And I think it's really important that you differentiate that and that you specify that it's not just JPEGs. Right now we're seeing it mostly JPEGs, but it can be MP3, MP4, any sort of file
format. It can be an animated file, it can be a song,
a .pdf.
Yeah.
I loved what you mentioned, houses and car titles. They are very important assets to us. So why would we not want the certificate of ownership on a blockchain where it's secure and immutable? And so that's where, it seems a little silly to think about right now, but in the future, when you buy a house, the deed to the house is going to be on the blockchain.
Yeah. I mean, that's a title. Titles are very relevant use case. And it's kind of an easy hop to make that, and especially in any kind of these kind of documents that we have, you can see like medical records, might be another, use case. A lot of these things are all going to move onto the blockchain because it's just going to be a better way of storing the information, and also creating, immutability like you were talking about. So, once an NFT is created and it's uploaded to the blockchain, that NFT as it exists is immutable. You can't really change it without there being a record of it. So it's already, as it's in that state when it's uploaded, that's exactly what it is going to be, that exact NFT. So you can't go back later and edit it without essentially creating a different NFT.
Right. And then you mentioned something I want us to dive deeper for our listeners is, the NFT is the hash, verifiable ownership on the blockchain, but where does the actual file itself live?
Yeah, there's different solutions for that. Some of them are stored on the blockchain, and some of them in the past have been stored on different servers. Some of those servers have been maybe more centralized than others. So there's an effort now for a lot of NFTs now that are minted to be stored on chain, and that's becoming the new norm. But it does create some kind of challenges because a lot of blockchains, it adds a lot of data to the state of the blockchain to have these different files. So sometimes you see these kind of hybrid solutions where there's another blockchain that just focuses on storage, like Arweave or something like that, and you could host your NFT on this storage. It's a decentralized storage service, and then the NFT would reference that media file that's stored there.
I like that we just talked about that, because I think it's important that if we are so excited about something that is changing the way that we provide value to different assets, and we want to make sure they are secure and they're not just on a centralized server that could get wiped.
Yeah. Fantastic. So one thing that people bring up though is like, oh, it's just, I can see someone's NFT online. I can just like right click save or just copy paste it, whatever, take a screenshot. And that is just like a feature of NFTs, not a bug. And it's not like a dig on it, because it's just like someone taking a picture of like the Mona Lisa, or, getting a print of Van Gogh's Starry Night. Like anyone can reproduce that, and actually only probably accrues more value to the actual NFT for their owner of it. Just like if Starry Night becomes more popular and people see it more, the worth of the original Starry Night by Van Gogh gets even more valuable. So let's shift a little bit.
Dissemination to wider audiences.
Yeah.
And then
it's just the internet is a copy machine, right? So let it do this copying thing for you, but also understand now we have this way to introduce digital scarcity with NFTs in a way that we never had before. So it creates this new kind of economy now around digital scarcity. Before, we couldn't really have this economy because we didn't have a way to have digital property rights. It didn't really work. And now we have a new tool. It's a huge unlock. And speaking of the unlock, it's great for creators, but some people have talked about, the environmental impact of NFTs. So we're going to touch on that real quick. So give me an update on your thoughts on that, Cash. How are NFTs bad for the environment?
At a surface level, no. I mean, anything can be good or bad depending on how it's executed. And we have a good deep dive into some of the more sustainable and aspects of the blockchain and how it can be good for the environment and good for society. So we reference all of our listeners to listen to that episode. But at the end of the day, it takes energy to create these. So if there is green energy being put into it, then it's not going to be unsustainable. And then for the instances where you can't have clean energy going into it, there's a lot of carbon offset programs where there are specific gallery auction houses having an event where they're directly donating to a sustainability project where they're actively, reforesting an area and actually getting verifiable carbon credits. So it's not just, oh, we're planting some trees. They're actually verifiable carbon credits proving the offset of this NFT.
Yeah, there's some really amazing stuff being done by the Regen Network, which we talk about in episode 13, Crypto for Good, and KlimaDAO. And there's a lot of actually fantastic projects that are sitting right at the intersection between climate change and blockchain. And they're hooking into NFTs as a way to make all this work. And then we're actually excited to support them with some of our upcoming NFT projects as well.
Yeah, come to the In Real Life happy hour event and you can support the Regen Network's really good cause. So we're excited about that.
That's happening December 4th at Soho in Santa Barbara. So mark your calendars.
And full disclosure, Colin and I are the reliquary that is putting it on. So, okay, why do NFTs matter though? You referenced it before. It's a huge unlock, right? So what are some of the typical, takes that galleries take off of artists or what's the music industry doing to artists and why are NFTs important to artists?
Yeah, so NFTs are a way to, like I said, have digital property rights, but it also lets you bypass intermediaries. So you can, as a creator, you can sell directly to your supporters without having a record company sit in the middle or without having an art dealer, an art house, or an art gallery sit in the middle. And now you're able to distribute all that value to your fan base. And then you're, as a creator, you're able to benefit from all that value as well. So it's just a better model. And it all runs on blockchain technology, right? So because of Ethereum or because of these other trustless settlement layers of blockchain, we can have this great marketplace. And so OpenSea is one of them that's been, amazing. They've been doing $3 billion in volume in the past couple months. And then there's Super Rare, there's Rarible, and now there's even more that we'll talk about later in the episode. But just to circle back, is that NFTs give artists, creators, anyone who's making anything, the ability to sell directly to their fans without having a huge percentage come out. So ultimately, it's a big boost for the revenue for the whole creator economy.
And then what's even cooler about that is because of the smart contract built into the blockchain NFT, the artist can get resell percentages every single time
royalties. So you can embed royalties into NFTs.
Exactly.
So the amazing thing with NFTs is that there's all this code, there's smart contracts. So there's different ways to program different behaviors with these NFTs. Some of them come with secret content that you can only unlock at a certain time, where you have to own the NFT. Until you own it, you can't see the certain content. Or some of them, give you access to like an online club, or, like we talked before, some of them are actually, physical, like they're essentially like membership to a place where you can go and meet other people that are into certain NFTs. And like the Crypto Venetians, we've talked about that, or the Bored Ape Yacht Club, they have a lot of events. So there's all different ways to create value with these NFTs. But what's amazing is that the value can also be extended into just how they're traded and royalties. And so you can say, okay, 10% of this NFT for forever will always be donated to some cause or will go back to the original artist. And when you create the NFT, you get to pick how you can decide all those kind of variables.
And that's why artists can continue to make a living on it, right? We can actually have artists that don't have to be struggling, starving artists. Like NFTs could actually kind of get rid of that trope.
Yeah, and NFTs are going to end the starving artist narrative. Everyone's going to be, wait, you're an NFT artist? Like, yeah, you're doing well. Good job.
Okay, you're buying dinner tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I have. So, I mean, for example, we have the CryptoPunks. That's a really famous NFT project, and for listeners that aren't familiar, they were one of the first. Debatable, like if they were the first, or there's like Crypto Rocks and there's some other projects that people said were first, but they're one of the earliest ones, and they were created in June 2017, and they were actually free. They're 10,000 images of unique characters that are all in generated 8-bit style, 24 by 24 pixel images.
Wait, they were free?
Yeah.
How much did Visa buy one for recently?
They bought a cheaper one. They bought like a floor punk for like 200,000.
Yeah. Okay. But, yeah. One of the cheaper ones for 200,000. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
Yeah. But yeah, they originally could be claimed for free. And then they became like, this huge internet sensation in the crypto world. And now, we have some that have been selling for several $1 million. And Sotheby's actually sold one for 11.8 million in June this year. So wow. There is a major market, for NFTs. And another recent like fun example was the Wu-Tang Clan album that was recently bought by Pleaser DAO.
Yeah, well, the other side of it was the just with the CryptoPunks and actually, just having them blow up so much. Like, what are some other ones that we've seen just like start out at very little and then now they're just breaking the internet, right? I mean, there's so many of these.
Yeah, Bored Ape Yacht Club was another example. They were 0.08 ETH and to mint them, and there wasn't like a big like gas war drop. Everyone wasn't like fighting to mint them. Like you could have just casually gone on and just minted these Bored Apes for a while for like, and then they all rocketed up to, I don't know what they are now, but like probably 45, 50 ETH. Some of them are like in the 100 ETH. Sotheby's sold 101 of them for like $25 million or $26 million or something like that. Or Christie's, I can't remember, one of those auction houses. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of value being perceived in these NFTs. And one of the reasons is that you can share them, right? More than you can share just like a painting on your wall, right? We live more and more in a digital world. We live in this, what people are starting to call, quote unquote, the metaverse. So in this digital world, you want to be able to like show your identity, show your personality. And it's all kind of accelerated during the pandemic too, right? Because we became more technologically involved and we're Zooming everywhere and we're, not even really commuting. We're just living on more and more this digital realm. And so why not have a way to express yourself? And NFTs let you do that. And you can like show your vibes on the internet with NFTs. And so that's like the cultural piece that people maybe like don't quite grasp at first. But it's super important. And that's what people need to understand why these matter.
Yeah. And just to bring up a cool event that you mentioned, the Sotheby's purchase of a CryptoPunk. Sotheby's had a June auction of NFTs, natively digital, that we talked about in our last episode. And just to reference, yes, they offset the entire carbon footprint of all those NFTs.
So cool. I love it. And that's where the industry is going. And so, yeah, it really does kind of help debunk some of these narratives that people hear. They pick up on that, NFTs are bad for the environment and whatnot. It's that NFTs can actually be a force for good and social impact and environmental stewardship. So we're here to, elucidate people about all these exciting avenues for positivity and have to be optimistic about what blockchain can do. And it's still nascent, it's still new, right? So it takes time for this stuff to get built out, but it's happening and it's slowly but surely, we're seeing some fantastic project lead the charge, like we were talking about in our Crypto for Good episode.
Yeah,
But I did want to circle back into just this whole NFTs as a cultural investment, because I think it's just really important to talk about that. And then we'll get into some more of the examples. But NFTs let people invest in culture in a new kind of way. Like you can be part of a community. Like if you get a Bored Ape or you get one of these other projects that has a really strong community presence, then you have like this belonging, you have this sense of community that you want to build up other people that are in the community, because if they do well and they have a Bored Ape, then you do well too, because it makes your Bored Ape also more valuable. So there's this amazing kind of decentralized organic growth that happens out of these NFT communities. And we're seeing that with in a variety of ways. But also you can just, show your NFT on your Twitter profile, on your Facebook profile, and things that are going to show. And we're going to start to see more and more of this happening as the world changes into this space. And like, you can show everyone that everyone sees that, right? Even if like you're a wealthy person, you want to flex and you go buy like a Maserati or something, even then, like only the people that you see you when you're driving around in your Maserati, you get to only flex to those people that are in your physical space. But on the internet, if you have like a cool crypto punk, you can flex that and everyone can see that across the internet. And it is kind of a much bigger audience to say, hey, look what I'm into. Look, these are my values. This is what I am a part of. And that's what we're seeing, is that there's a much bigger surface area for culture than there is like finance or tech. I mean, like, yes, DeFi is really cool. And we're seeing DeFi explode, which is decentralized finance.
All of our bankless bros were saying, oh, DeFi, DeFi, DeFi. And then NFTs hit the scene 3 months ago. And then it totally switched their narrative, where, Ethereum is gaining so much more value and publicity and traffic through NFTs and not decentralized finance, which is what everyone was thinking it would continue to steer towards for the next year or two. And now it's just got broken by NFTs.
Yeah, because you think about how many people really care about finance. It's just a smaller pool of people. Yes, there's definitely a huge industry of finance, of course, and you think about like how many people care about tech, and then how many people actually care about like blockchain. So these are small subsets of people. But then you ask how many people care about culture. Everyone. We're social beings. Everyone cares about culture. So the surface area for NFTs, because NFTs are cultural investments, then you understand why NFTs are huge. And NFTs are going to represent everything that we have in the physical world is going to have like an NFT kind of version that we're going to interact with. And people might say like, what are you talking about? But it's already starting to happen.
And that's where you can really see it, right? Like, what is starting to happen? Disney going into the NFT space, the MLB baseball going into the NFT space. Like, what?
Facebook's changed their name to Meta because they understand that the metaverse, they're making a huge play. They're making a big bet that, this whole online digital world that's overlapping with our physical world is going to be the future. And so that they're making a huge bet. They understand, they have big plans. They're controversial and they're always kind of in the news right now for doing bad things, but
thank you for bringing that up.
It's just interesting to see them jump on the bandwagon and bet on crypto essentially. And what's cool is that hopefully maybe it'll run on like Ethereum on the back end, because I think if they try to do their own version of crypto, right, it's maybe not be as interesting as like
and that's
the organic grassroots way that it's happening now.
And that's what we don't want, right? Like to have a centralized Facebook in charge of our metaverse, right? Like I don't want to go to
it's the difference of going to like Disneyland, right, versus going to San Francisco, right? If you're in San Francisco, it's like these cool organic neighborhoods, and it's just like it's not top down, it's bottom up, and that's what makes it cool and weird. And if you go to like Disneyland or something, it's all top down, it's all manicured, and yeah, it's fun for a day maybe, but you can't have digital property rights there. You can't, or property rights there. You can't own things in Disneyland. You can't build a house there. You don't want to like raise your kids there, right? It's fun for a day to visit, but it's not real, and you know that. And that's the same thing that Facebook kind of might do with like their meta, is they might make this top down kind of version of the metaverse, and then there might be like this way more interesting version of the metaverse that's being created by open source, open protocol, Ethereum native um, apps and things like that. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, NFTs are really picking up pace. And let's go over some more of the updates that we were mentioning.
Yeah, and just wait, hold on. You just got my brain thinking about something. I just want to get our listeners excited. Like the metaverse, what are we talking about? Well, eventually you're going to be wearing VR goggles and you're going to be walking around this 3D virtual space. And then you're going to look up on the wall of some art gallery, you're going to see a sick ass NFT. And that's going to be as while you're listening to a DJ or a band play, and you're saying hi to your friend that either looks exactly like your friend, or maybe they look like they're CryptoPunk, or maybe they look like they're, Rogue Shark. But there's going to be this space where all of these NFTs kind of come to life, and they're not just living on your crypto wallet on your phone. They're actually alive in a digital way.
Yeah, and then you layer on augmented reality and virtual reality and AI and all of these things on top of that, and you kind of start to get this soup where the physical world and the digital world just kind of blend into one. And that's what I kind of how I would define the metaverse. And if you ask 20 people, you might get 20 different answers for this question. It's kind of a fun question to explore in your brain. But more and more we are as humans living in this like digital substrate of the internet. I mean, we're already super plugged in all the time. We have our phones. If you lose your phone, it feels like your life is over, especially now too, after the pandemic. You can't even order food. You can't even like look at the menu without your phone. So, and now we have wearables. We're already so connected to the internet, and so fluid, and it just makes sense now that we can have digital property rights. You're going to see that was like the last step we needed to really have the digital world and the physical world kind of have like a portal to go in between, right? Because now money and value can flow from the internet world to the physical world seamlessly. And maybe it's not that seamless yet because we have, you have to go through some bridges and you have to pay some gas fees and whatnot. But there's a flow now. There's this river between the digital and the physical world of value that's been created through crypto and NFTs and blockchain. And that's what's allowing this kind of world to actually develop, because the economies are merging into just one huge economy and one huge cultural sphere.
Yeah, and I think a good segue into that, what's that physical, what's that intellectual property that already exists that's being taken into this NFT digital world? And Disney is the perfect example, who partnered with Vive, and they made 30,000 NFT comic books, and they had 5 variable covers, all different rarities, but they just sold 30,000 NFT comic books.
Yeah, I think it was like one of the Marvel comics, one of the vintage ones,
Mm-hmm.
and they had different covers to represent, like they had the common, uncommon, rare, super rare, and like legacy or legend, or I don't know, I couldn't remember all the different ones. But you're going to see anything that has intellectual property, anything that has IP is just going to get eaten by NFTs. And you're just seeing NFTs just eat everything. And like all the low hanging fruit are kind of like these things that are already collectibles already, right? So like we're seeing, art, of course, comic books, we're seeing sports, cards, anything that's already lends itself to being collected is just an easy bridge to the NFT space. But now what we're seeing now in this next wave of NFT stuff now, though, is we're seeing NFTs kind of new business models, new community organizations are kind of coming up and are just reinventing what NFTs can do, right? So there's like the easy use cases that are like comic books and things like that, and baseball cards or NBA Top Shots. But now we're seeing this next kind of evolution of NFTs as they fully start to infiltrate the entire mainstream. So let's go over some more of them.
Yeah. Reddit, for example. I think all of our listeners know Reddit. They used to have a kudos kind of, you get a star if you did good content, people could reward you within the community, but it's all just fake Reddit money. It doesn't mean
Well, you
anything.
could just buy more of those rewards.
Right.
So there's no like, they're just inflationary, and like you don't really, there's no real scarcity to them. So, and
Right.
then that just makes them not as valuable, right?
Yep. And so to solve this, Reddit's going to start using Ethereum as the back end for NFTs as rewards for Reddit.
Yeah, and I think they're also doing something with Polygon, I heard maybe. But yeah, Reddit is going full crypto native, and it's going to be amazing because then there's going to be some functionality now they're introducing digital scarcity into their ecosystem. And then once you have digital scarcity, then you have all these tokenomics, right? The economics of tokens that you can just play with now. And who knows what they'll do with it, where it's going to go. But it's really exciting because Reddit is one of the biggest social networks out there, and they don't actually monetize their user base nearly as much as any of the other big ones. Mm-hmm. It's pretty low. So, and how they kind of do their thing. So I think this is a great opportunity for them to really be the leaders in the kind of the Web 2 world, embracing crypto. And we're kind of seeing this trend right now. We're seeing Reddit jump in, and now we have Meta with Facebook. So Web 2 is seeing what's happening with crypto and NFTs, and they're making plans.
Yeah. And I think, with Reddit, it's so easy for them to jump into the crypto space because of all the subreddits and the forums that are like DAOs. And, Reddit doesn't have anything to lose necessarily, but they have a lot to gain. Whereas Facebook has a lot to lose if they don't capitalize on this and they don't, move into this world. And so another really cool social kind of aspect of NFTs is Twitter's coming in and having a collections functionality on Twitter, where you can now kind of have almost like a wallet collection of your NFTs showcased on Twitter.
Yeah, that was really cool. I saw that, and it's a whole new like tab on someone's profile is seeing their NFTs. So seeing just another way to flex your NFTs, to show off your NFTs. And that's another way that NFTs are accruing value, because now you're seeing these integrations. So it's easier and easier to share your NFTs, which makes them more meme worthy, makes it more mimetic, makes more people want to acquire them to see what you got. And yeah, it's great. It makes a lot of sense.
We got another one kind of forming to be the actual social media platform for NFTs. It's called Hype, and they had a $2 million raise.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see these more crypto native social media platforms develop. And we've talked about this a little bit before, but decentralized social media is a next wave that's going to happen. We're seeing NFTs eat everything. NFTs are eating art, they're eating culture, and they're going to eat how we experience culture too. And just like if you post something on Instagram or whatnot, you don't own that photo. Instagram owns it, or an Instagram, all these social media companies, Web 2, they own the platform, right? You're just renting. So if you have a popular YouTube channel or if you're a popular Twitter account, they could just shut you down anytime they want, right? And we saw that happen before. So it can happen. And then if that's your livelihood, if that's how you make a living, you're just out of luck, right? So decentralized services that let you own your own content and let you create your own things and let you, connect with your fan base, your supporters without intermediaries are the future. It's just a better way of doing it. So we're going to see these things happen more and more. And I'm super bullish on all the decentralized versions of the web.
Yeah. We just read about TikTok Moments going carbon neutral with their NFTs, where they were taking specific special moments in TikTok history and using the platform Immutable X to mint NFTs. And by the way, Immutable X is doing it all carbon neutral. So that's really cool. TikTok is, putting this into internet history. My question for you, I don't know if you have the answer. is TikTok starting to allow their users to own their content as NFTs?
I don't think they have that integration yet,
Okay.
but
But that
I
would be the
think,
question that all of
yeah,
our
right. Yeah.
Gen
I think
Zers want to know.
that's the future, right? And maybe they see that, and maybe this is just kind of the first step, but it does seem a little interesting, right? Because if TikTok, I mean, I wonder, the people that are featured in their top TikTok moments that they did feature on Mutable X. So Mutable X is an NFT exchange for listeners that don't know. So TikTok decided to, credit these like Hall of Fame moments in their history and sell them. And some of them sold for a lot of ETH. Like I think one sold for 28 ETH. So that's not chump change. It's like over $100,000. So I wonder if TikTok takes all that money, or do the people that were featured, in that TikTok moment, do they see any of that?
Right. It's their content.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are questions that, are going to have to be answered, because we're seeing Web2 companies that traditionally are the ones that have the rights over the content that's on their platform monetize that content now as NFTs, but are the original creators, do they have any right to that content? And that's, yeah. And I, depending on which, where these different Web2 companies come out on that question, I think is going to define their future.
It's a really good question to have. I'm glad that we're at least asking our listeners to think about it, because it is, at the end of the day, we're trying to support artists, right? We don't want starving artists. Those are content creators. Those are artists.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy when you think about like all the value that's created on YouTube or, any of these platforms, and, how much YouTube takes, versus how much the creators get. And at the end of the day too, like you don't own your channel, right? They can turn your channel off anytime they want. And that's, I don't know. It's not the future I really want to live in, when you have a better option. It's before we didn't really have an option. We didn't have crypto. We didn't have NFTs. We didn't have this blockchain technology. We didn't have the tools to do it. So we're like, okay, well, this is what we're doing. But now we have these tools to create a better option. And so if you look at history, right, the good ideas end up winning. And so to not bet on this is like to bet against human ingenuity, and like bet against human flourishing. And who wants to do that?
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to bet against the greatness of the human spirit.
Well, if baseball's doing it, it's an American pastime now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about that. So we're with the World Series baseball NFT collection. They made a partnership with an NFT platform called Candy, and they've made commemorative NFTs for the Atlanta Braves for winning the championship. And some of them are
big trophy style NFTs.
Yeah, they're like animated trophies, and they have music, and it's this whole kind of championship version. And you could, in previous World Series, right, you might buy the commemorative T-shirt, right, or the commemorative hat, and now you can get the commemorative NFT. And we live in this digital world, so why not have the digital NFT, right? You don't have to wash it, you don't have to put it in the dryer. It doesn't you can't lose it as long as it's on your wallet. And so that's another way to kind of come at this from a conceptual way, is just to look at NFTs like digital merchandise. It's digital merch. And so any kind of intellectual property is just super low hanging fruit to make NFTs into digital merchandise. So we're seeing this with the World Series. We're seeing this baseball, NBA Top Shots. We're seeing this with DraftKings is partnering with an NFT ecosystem on Polygon. Crypto gaming is a esports is this very simple use case to parse all this stuff is going to just layer right into crypto. I mean, to the world of esports and gaming just seamlessly. They already understand this kind of stuff. Gamers already understand these tokenomics in games. So it's a easy step into crypto for the whole gaming industry. Some of them are going to resist it, like we've seen.
But we already see horse racing going into crypto,
Yeah, it's a better solution. So, I mean, we're just going to continue to see NFTs just keep eating everything. And IP, anything with IP is going to be just swallowed up really easily. the NFT monsters.
Yeah, and one other quick little segment that we won't jump into too much here. We'll have a fuller episode on, but the whole music NFT side of it, the platform Royal just tokenized a song of Blau's and fractionalized it, and now you can buy it on OpenSea. You can buy ownership of a song on OpenSea, which is the NFT marketplace.
I'm thrilled about this development in the music industry, because the music industry is historically one of the ones that the intermediaries, like the middlemen, the record labels that sit in between the artists and the fans and the supporters, take a massive chunk. And so what you're going to see is any industry where you have an intermediary that sits in the middle and eats a big chunk is going to be some of the first industries to get swallowed up by crypto and NFTs, because what crypto does is it disintermediates, it gets rid of the middle people that are just there to take rent, and you can just publish straight to your fans, and now your fans or your supporters can be co-creators in you. It's, in your project, in your art, in your craft. And royal.io with the music is fantastic. And I think that's just like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how this is going to completely disrupt the music industry. And I think we're probably going to do a whole episode on that soon, because it's really near and dear to our hearts, and we have a lot of interesting ideas that are coming up in that space. So looking forward to that episode with you, Cash, in the future.
Yeah, just to give a quick little snapshot to our listeners, the Everything song by Blau tokenized into 175, and each of them is going for 1.25 ETH. So 218 ETH is what that song is valued at on OpenSea, times 4,400 right now for ETH or something, almost $1 million song, $960,000 song.
Wow. Boom.
Fuck. Good job, Blau. Good job.
Yeah. Congratulations for making that happen. Yeah. It's super inspiring to see.
We don't like
that success.
We don't like starving musicians. Everyone loves music. It's the opening to our soul. We can't have them starving.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about how music is usually spread, it's usually spread from friends to friends, word of mouth, sharing. And so tokenizing it is just aligning the incentives that are already there, just rewarding people for sharing songs they already like, which was something that like we already do. Like you already send all your friends songs that you like. So
because you like your friends,
rewarded for it.
You like your friends, and you're like, hey, this song made me feel good. You should listen to it. You're gonna like it too. Like it's sharing happiness at the end of the day, right?
It really is sharing happiness. And speaking of sharing happiness, you can share more happiness with your NFTs on your Apple Watch with Zerion. Zerion is a cool dashboard. If you haven't used it yet, or if you're into crypto and NFTs, they have a web version where you just connect your wallet and it shows your wallet's positions across the blockchain. So if you have some assets on different blockchains, it can show you that, and it can show you your positions. So it's super handy, but also they have NFT functionality, and they also have an app for your smartphone. So you can get this app, and then that connects to your wallet, your MetaMask, and using that app, you can create an Apple Watch face out of any NFT and then put that on your Apple Watch. So another way that NFTs are starting to become wearable. And we've mentioned this before, but wearables in the NFT space is going to be massive. And this is just the beginning.
Yeah, really cool integrations. We already talked about the Twitter collections functionality. Cool thing that you just told me about that I love is the wormhole, which is bridging NFTs between Solana and Ethereum. So blockchain to blockchain NFT bridging.
Yeah, because right now, kind of the Manhattan of NFTs is Ethereum. And then we have, these other boroughs, which be like, layer twos like Arbitrum or Optimism or Immutable X that sit on top of Ethereum. But then we also have other blockchains. And so it's kind of have like the next state over might be Solana or something. So now you can like take your NFT from Manhattan to like New Jersey going through this bridge, right? You might have, you could take the bridge over. They call them like the bridge and tunnel crew. B&T is like a slang that they use in New York to refer to people that, don't live in Manhattan, like the bridge and tunnel.
Oh, I
But
love it.
yeah, because they take the bridge and tunnel to get there. But, now you can bridge and tunnel your NFTs between different blockchains. So the composability layer that's being fleshed out with this infrastructure that's being fleshed out is another way that NFTs are just going to continue to expand and grow, because now you can, take your NFT as a token, right? Just like you can take your ETH and move it from Ethereum to Solana, or from Solana to Polygon. Now you can take your NFT and pop it around. So this is another layer of infrastructure that's going to help this metaverse come about.
Yeah. And then Art House, really cool platform, allowing for essentially like platform for auction and galleries for NFTs.
Yeah, it's this cool plugin built on the WordPress platform. So WordPress is, the website publishing software that's open source. And now there's a plugin that lets you kind of create your own digital NFT auction. So you can just have an auction house on your site. And I'm super excited to see this, and more tools like this coming out is incredibly bullish for the NFT space. And it's just going to let more creative people and innovators get their hands dirty and play around and see what they can make. And so it's going to add to the flourishing of this ecosystem. The more and more tools that we get in the online, and the easier, the user experience gets, the more NFTs are just going to keep populating around the world. Go NFTs.
Yeah, I love it. No, we're excited. We're going to be bringing this into practice at our Soho event. So what do we end with? What are we excited about? I can't not share my excitement for our in real life happy hour Soho art auction of NFTs happening on December 4th.
Yeah, Cash, I am thrilled to have this event happening at Soho, Santa Barbara. It's going to be the first NFT event at Soho, and it's from 4 to 7 p.m. on December 4th. So mark your calendars if you're in the area. We'd love to see you. It is free to attend. And the first 100 people that show up will also get a free NFT. And we're featuring art by 3 well-known artists. We have Chester Arnold, and we have John Schooler, and we have Manuel de Cisneros. So we have a nice profile of these really amazing artists and how they're kind of shifting from the traditional art space into the digital realm with NFTs. So we're delighted to launch this, and we hope you can make it.
Yeah, please come support, and then stick around after. A really incredible band, the Salty Strings Band, will be playing that night at Soho afterwards. So can't miss that band.
Yeah,
so.
NFTs and art and happy hour, and then some strings, some good old down home strings playing. That's a good Saturday night. I don't know about you, but that's a nice solid day right there.
Slapping the bass of the cello. Can't get much better than that.
Awesome. Well, that's it for now. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Thank you for exploring the world of blockchain with us.
Crypto is changing the world. We're here to ensure you're ready.
So please subscribe, share this podcast with your friends and coworkers, and leave us a review.
We look forward to sharing our next episode with you.
Cheers.
Cheers.